Hello, everybody. My name is Jack, and welcome to the All Nighters 2. I'm your host, and with me we have our co host Joel,
Hello.
and we have two guests today our buddies Daniel
What's good?
and Felix,
What's up?
coming straight to you from Denmark. Now, today we are going to be talking about a little game that we all love called Signalis. Ooh. All
It's
right, so
it's a good
I,
game.
I personally love this game. It's great.
It's
Oh, yeah,
banging.
banging game. In fact, Felix is actually playing his first playthrough this go around. So we have
Yes, indeed.
a little inexperienced somebody who's gonna see the world differently for the first time. Welcome.
A noob, if you so will.
I will.
Exactly that.
I definitely will. Didn't you get like fucked over by the fake out ending?
I did. I thought it was done, and then, apparently, I'm not done. I have one more section left, so.
Like we boot up like we were talking before this, right? This recording. And we're here and Felix is like talking like, damn, guys, I missed so much, you know? Like I got the fake out ending, so you got more to talk about. And we're like, you're not done, man. Just play a little bit more.
The worst part is I lost my save, so
Oh
45
my
minutes
god.
down the toilet.
Yeah, it sucks.
You'll make it back up though. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Today we are going to start out this first episode. We're going to be playing all the way from the beginning to what is it? The end of the mines. What'd you call it, Joel?
Are we getting to talk about the unknown?
No,
Not
we're
not
stopping right before the unknown. That's what it's called.
Pre
Right. So
unknown
yeah,
before the
signals.
unknown.
Got
God
you.
damn it! I can't talk
I
about Willy
know.
Wonka, the Willy Wonka experience.
You're gonna have to next time. Save it for next time. That's a great way to start off episode 2. But as I was saying, yeah, we'll be playing all the way through those sections. And to start out, let's have Joel give us a little rundown on the backstory of the development of this game, if you don't mind, please.
Okay, so Rose Engine, Signalis was developed by Rose Engine, which is two people. Let me pull up their names. I know it's on Twitter. They're Babs and Yuri. I think it's Barbara. Signalis devs. We have, but yeah, it's Rose Engine, and it started 10 years. It's been in development for around 10 years. They went
Wow.
through a graduate thesis while they were doing it. And some of the fun stuff about Signalis, like before it was a survival horror game, it was actually a 2D Metroidvania. Lot brighter colors. Some of these development screenshots are really interesting. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see them if you guys
I didn't
want
know it
to.
started out as a Metroidvania.
Yeah. We're on the Signalis subreddit here. Thank you, user Teflon Flack, for compiling these Twitter threads. Um, but
Wow.
this is what we could have
Boom.
had if they didn't keep improving the game. I'm not saying
Mm.
it would have been bad. I think it would have been pretty cool, but I think where we ended up with is much, much better. But you can see like early
Agreed.
themes.
Definitely.
Yeah, Yuri Stern. That's one of the devs' names. Uh, you can see some of the themes of the game have already like solidified themselves. Main characters, you've got Elster and Ariane, and it seems like Ariane would have played a bigger, I guess, more dialogue role in this. Not saying she doesn't play a huge role in Signalis, because she definitely fucking does. But yeah, these are some of the early development screenshots. Definitely interesting. But like you can see, Yuri was what's the word that I'm looking for? Dissatisfied with their own work, and they're glad that they kept
Mm.
working on it because the prototype is compromised due to their lack of skills and time back then. So they went full time on it, and then we got Signalis. I think it's also
Dang.
interesting looking at these screenshots, not seeing the lighting, because the lighting engine in Signalis is part of what makes it so good, in my opinion. You get that stellar art direction because of how dark everything is. I remember
Yeah.
my first playthrough, I turned my computer brightness up so high because even with the flashlight, man, I could not see shit. Could be because I, have to wear these big, thick glasses or whatever, but
No, I think the lighting engine is definitely very impressive, and I'm glad they
It's
went with the
crazy.
direction they did, being like top down, because I think this makes a great segue into the idea of horror in this game as it is as a genre. Very like good lighting engine with dark spaces, but also with the top-down perspective. I think it plays a very impressive part in just how like narrow the hallways are and like how your
Mm.
character like navigates the environment that they are in. So I
Anyway,
think that's
No,
very impressive.
I definitely agree, and I don't want to get too metatextual, but that whole top down, that idea of looking down onto a story that's already playing out. I think it's the kind of game that just impresses me with how well connected everything seems to be. Everything just seems so intentional, like
mhm.
Mm.
every item placement,
Definitely.
every save point, every enemy placement. Like just going through it, I never went into a room that just felt superfluous. Everything was there for a reason, which was it made the game feel so tight.
Mm.
No, absolutely. I fully
Definitely.
agree. And especially like what is it? Like with the monsters in this game, whenever you have to like go up against them, like these tight like corridors like make it like hard to like dodge around, but then you're
Mm.
also having to play with a limited ammo supply with your weaponry, which can make things very intense. I still remember on my first playthrough, like just the feeling of dread I'd get whenever I enter a room because like whereas like most horror games I feel like releasing these days or like Five Nights at Freddy's clones relying on jump scares heavily, Signalis I feel like goes the opposite direction, pits you against the danger and you're aware of that fact and the monster may not see you, but I personally felt like the inevitable dread of they're probably going to see me and that shriek they let out every time like shakes the screen and it makes me jump. Man, it's awful.
Yeah, for sure.
To be fair, there are a lot of indie games like Signalis coming out. Like it's not all just mascot horror, but Signalis is really special, I think, because of how tightly crafted it is. Because you get a lot of like good, interesting indie horror games that have good ideas, like a lot of the Chill's art stuff, for instance, or Paratopic. But those games end up being really, really short. Signalis is able to keep that focused, I guess, nature of those short story experiences and stretch it out for 8 hours and
Mm.
make you feel like you're not wasting your time, which is really impressive, I think, in terms of
Definitely.
narrative design and I guess game design in general.
I
Yeah,
feel
The
like
I
the
fact that
absolutely
pacing
agree.
that they
okay, go
had
ahead.
throughout the game was also like impeccable, like
Mhm.
insane. Like I was like engaged throughout the entire thing. I was feeling like fulfilled after every single like puzzle that I solved, and
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it,
I
it
want to
was
know,
it was.
Felix, you're a big puzzle guy, Mr. Rubik's
Mm.
Cube extraordinaire. What did you think of the
Champion.
puzzles in Signalis?
I felt like they were like challenging at times, but like it's also like you could do it without too much trouble, you know?
Mm,
Like like you yeah, anyone could solve them for the most part.
yeah, I think there
And
was
I like
one
there was
that I
never a
got
time
stuck
where
on.
like I felt like too stuck, you know? Without like yeah, you just go back a little bit and then you find like it was yeah.
Yeah,
I-
absolutely. I personally like with the puzzles, um, I'm not like the smartest like tool in the tool shed, but I feel like it was pretty accomplishable. If sometimes a bit trial and error. But overall, I liked it a lot, and I really do appreciate like the pacing of it. Like, there's very few times where I felt like I had to like run across the map just to like make something happen. For
Mm.
one specific purpose. I felt like Daniel was saying, like it's all like very like intentionally placed with the like level design.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I found
Well,
also that there's a lot of puzzles that you can just kind of brute force if you're too
Mm.
stupid to figure it out, which is a great for me. Like
I'm being completely real. I
satellite
didn't
dish
have to
one,
do that.
but I know Jack series with it.
was this the triangulation puzzle?
Yeah. Like I got it, without like we both brute forced it. I think, right? Like, did you end up
Yeah,
finding the thing? Yeah, I also brute forced it. I didn't understand it. The difference is I got it first try. And how long did you spend on it?
at least an hour, bro. It was
Oh
rough.
At least an
God,
hour. Like every puzzle is, brute forceable, which I liked. Or at least most of them
yeah,
are.
I got filtered hard. Like I was able to do every other puzzle fine, But that one X-ray puzzle where you had to X-ray stuff and then you had a
Yeah.
path to follow, I got filtered so hard there because I kept flipping the X-ray. I had it flipped upside down, so I was following the
Oh.
wrong path the
I had the
entire
same
time.
issue.
I did that for like 2 hours. I put the game down for a week on my first playthrough after that. I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing this game anymore. It's broken. I can't refund it either. God damn it.
You're too far in at that point. That's when they hit you. That way you can't refund it and they get their
Mhm.
money's worth. No, that same puzzle, I agree. I had it flipped upside down. I used like the little like eye
Mm.
camera tool and like I took a picture of it. But like when you insert the chip into the computer monitor, like I kept making the pattern upside down.
Oh,
Mm.
the eye camera tool. I'm trying to remember. Was that an inventory slot? Because I
It
don't
was a
think I.
full inventory slot.
Yeah, I didn't
It was
fucking
the
use that
worst item.
either.
That item was so poorly designed, but whatever, whatever. I don't want to talk about the
Well,
inventory yet, but man, I
yeah,
got, you know.
I think
we'll
they think
we'll
they might
get
have
there.
changed that for me at least.
They did.
They
They
made it
patched that
like
out
part. Oh, okay. Yeah, very nice.
because they did an
Wait, it
inventory
doesn't take up an
upgrade.
inventory slot anymore?
Not
No, not
anymore.
anymore.
Neither does the
Same with
No,
the
flashlight. I
it
don't
didn't.
think.
flashlight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
it
no,
flashlight.
was.
on
That's
on
actually
my
super nice.
That's such a better. Oh, that
no,
fixes my only real
Mm.
complaint about this game was that you only need 5 inventory slots. So that's crazy.
Wait,
They
5?
changed that.
Because the
Well,
6.
because you
I
need
flashlight's
had.
six,
mandatory.
and then the flashlight is
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
mandatory
yeah. Okay.
No,
all the time.
I made a mental note of that because I played like what was it? At this point, 2 years ago, or was it a year ago? Either way, 2 years
Maybe a
ago,
year because
back
it came out
pre
2022.
right,
Mm.
yeah. Either way, it was pre flashlight and eye patch, and I like made a mental note of it in my head the other day when I was playing. Like, huh, wait a minute, this is like I see a whole like extra box pop up whenever I equip this in my inventory. So good times, good times. Um, yeah, no. I'd say you guys cool if we jump right into the opening of this game.
Yeah, why not?
For sure.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, okay. So starting out, you boot up the game. You're introduced, like say on the menu. It's on the menu. You get like this really cool like design. I don't know how best to describe it other than like some kind of polygon, like MC Escher style overlay.
Oh
Um,
shit. It's a tesseract, isn't it?
That's what it is. Tesseract. Yeah, the Tesseract symbol. So that boots up, and at that point, you kind of hear like a little beeping, chiming noise, and like your screen is kind of staticky. And I really love this intro of the menu because as soon as you open it up, you just kind of hear like metallic clanging sounds, but like it's a zoomed up perspective of Elster's eye. And I really like this menu a lot because your mouse or controller, like whatever you're using, wherever you move that, Elster's eye is following, and you can see into her eye. And
Mm.
it's just a subtle detail that I really appreciate.
Mm.
And like she's kind of there's like there's luster in her eye, and
Mm.
it's like lifelike for an android. But yeah, so that's the menu. And by the way, guys, feel free to stop me at any time if you have like anything that you want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
talk about.
Don't worry.
Of
I'm
course.
booting Signalis to make sure it's not the Penrose triangle, real quick. If it's the tesseract or the Penrose.
It might be the Penrose triangle or the Tesseract. I can't remember which
The
one.
Penrose triangle is our, the game icon on Steam, the little
Yeah,
triangle. That's the Penrose triangle.
got it. Because I
Mm.
know
They also
one
have that throughout the game.
They do.
they
Oh.
do, yeah,
Like
and
I
they have
remember
one
one
that's
of
a
the
Tesseract.
Yeah,
I remember one of like the keypad has the Penrose triangle
the
as
tesseract's
like
important.
the.
Yeah, keep going, Felix. Sorry. Oh,
No,
what?
no, no, that was it. That was it. It
That
was
was
just
it.
like it had like it on top to signify which like keypad you were trying to get into.
Yeah,
As one of the puzzles, it had the
the
triangle.
tesseract is significant for the artifact ending. It shows up later, and yeah, it's
Oh, got it. Well, I think we can come back to that one later because we can discuss all the
uh,
endings later. But yeah, anyway, as you boot up the game and jump into the actual gameplay itself, first
Mm.
level, you're greeted with Elster waking up from her cryogenic pod, it opening, and her stepping out into the metallic innards of the Penrose ship.
yeah,
Uh, I do appreciate how this game does not give you like any directions whatsoever. It's like, all right, you're on your own. Time to go explore,
yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is,
definitely.
oh, oh yeah,
I
it's a
like
little
that as well.
daunting at first, but I do appreciate that, and I think quickly like survival horror fans especially like can pick it
Mm.
up, and
yeah.
it gives you an opportunity. Oh, please.
Even
Especially since
for like
the. Oh yeah, go ahead, Felix.
No, I was just gonna say since I haven't played too many like survival horror games, but
Yeah.
even for me, like I felt like it was relatively like it wasn't too hard to figure out like what to do or anything. Like for the most part, there was a straightforward path that you have to like you have to find something and then that opens another area that you go through and then you gotta find like the whatever for the next area.
Yeah. I mean, it sets the tone really, really well. When you wake
Definitely.
up out of that cryogenic pod, it looks like you're walking around the Nostromo in Alien.
Exactly like
So
the
Mm.
fucking
yeah,
Nostromo.
so like
Well,
you're
no,
you're
no, no. I
immediately
guess. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no. It's like you're immediately setting the tone. I can't remember the. It worked really well for Alien Isolation. I don't remember the
Isolation,
ship's
yeah, I
name
was
in
gonna
that.
say the
Oh,
Sevastopol.
The
Sevastopol, that's
Sevastopol.
it.
Yeah.
But I was gonna
Yeah.
say I just really appreciate it. It is like Alien Isolation in the sense that it kind of puts you in this super immersive, just you have to go do this thing right now, figure it out. But just the aesthetic of the sci-fi world is just so distinct. It's such like a unique thing that I never felt, even though it strays sometimes very close to references, but it felt dissimilar from Alien or from Fireflies or from Galaxy Quest or any other just sci-fi properties. It's really felt just so distinctly Signalis, especially like kind of the metal framing, the pipes that don't
Yeah.
hiss, at the beginning. Alien, those pipes are hissing everywhere. In the beginning, they're just very cool and metal and silent,
Cold.
and
Mm.
it felt, yeah, exactly. The whole thing felt so cold, which
Yeah.
I was really amazing how they managed to do that, just with the color scheme and everything.
This color scheme
Absolutely.
is consistently amazing in this game. One
I don't
thing
know
I
about
will say,
consistently. I can think
I
of one area where it's not consistently amazing.
what's the one area? Do we?
I don't think we're
we
talking about it today.
oh
Oh
god
no.
damn it. Okay, look, aside from that one area, which I was about to say, you said that Signalis consistently, references
I'm not.
things
I
and it's
don't want to. Yeah,
consistently
no, no. Let's.
Signalis. No, sorry. I love Signalis. I love when they use Ghost in the Shell. I love when they use Evangelion. I have no problems with that, even when they're direct fucking rips, because it makes sense, with the themes of the game. We can't get to that today. We may can. Maybe we can.
Maybe we can, maybe we can't. But in terms of references, you mentioned Ghost in the Shell, and like we're talking about like most other sci-fi's, but like Signalis like pulls from those, and I think kind of like makes it its own identity, like kind of like taking the best of each of those things.
Yeah.
But I think there are definitely some direct rips. Just to fast forward a bit to this one reference, Silent Hill is definitely a big one. Even where the oh god, like first or no, it's first or second floor in the what is it, the Sierpensky mining
Yeah,
station,
mine. Serpensky
and
mining.
like literally like I didn't realize this in my first playthrough, and between my first playthrough and second playthrough I played Silent Hill 2 for the first time, and
Mhm.
when I walked in that fucking bathroom and I see
Elston looking at herself and it's like, oh man,
uh,
you're just James Sunderland, bro.
I know you're James Sunderland, or like one more bathroom later, and like there's a locked stall door. She's like, someone must be behind there. I'm like, okay, dude, James Sunderland said the same fucking thing. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like it didn't hit me until then. But yeah, no, I think this
You
I
know,
do like the color of this game, and like you said, the coldness.
Mm.
I think exploring the Penrose when you first wake up, it's not like things recently happened on the ship. I felt like walking around, things were very dilapidated, and it instilled a feeling of what happened here. You see like a bloody diary at some point, dilapidated like flaps. The controls are like busted up and old on the ship, and I think
Mm,
it's just like something's happened, but you don't know how long it's been that way.
yeah,
yeah.
Mm.
And
no,
I
definitely.
really appreciate the level design on the Penrose for that. I also find what is it, the photo that you grab from the controls of the spaceship really fascinating. It'll make more sense as we delve further into the game, but it's a picture of two girls standing right next to each other,
Mm. Our
one in
space
uniform.
lesbians, gotta love them.
We love space lesbians. Let's go. Uh, but yeah, no. So that's kind of what the Penrose is. From there, you do your little puzzles, and then you finally get the spacesuit to step out. For the most part, the perspective has been third person top down. But once you put on the spacesuit and also like enter like the
Mm,
airlock, how it cuts into
yeah.
first person perspective,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that was
really
really cool.
love the transitions in this game between those perspectives.
I
Like it's
adore them as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's like a nice piece of storytelling, kind of like an abrupt difference. Like, all right, I don't know how best to describe it, but I just it's enough to make those moments feel distinctly memorable
Yeah.
compared to the rest of the gameplay.
Well, they're definitely more immediate. Like that's what
Mm.
you get when you change the view, right? You're no longer looking top down like this is happening to someone else that you are controlling. You yourself are being affected. That's what you're trying to communicate through that, right?
Right,
Like this is
yeah.
no longer a character that you are like separate from. It is you on the
Mm.
screen. You are looking at this,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is you could maybe make an argument for like well, I don't know if I want to make that argument, but like bioresonance, for instance, is a weird power, right? It's communicating memories and identities and like looping and constructing them onto frames.
Yeah.
It
Mm.
could be
Yeah.
you sort of being bioresonance. I don't know a good way to say that
Oh, we're
into
getting
the
real
Elster
meta.
frame.
We're getting real Inception-y.
Oh
Okay,
shit.
okay.
To the listener, right now, bioresonance is something we will talk more in depth as the game goes on. Just at this point, you're being introduced. So if you don't understand what we're talking about now, it'll make more sense later.
Yeah. By the way, we're getting meta. You're the Daniel. You're the one who started off with this metatextual. The player is looking down at this. This is a
That
story
quickly,
being told.
I pivoted.
I know. I know. I know.
But
I'm just fucking
but
with you, man. No, I think it's a good
talking about
read as
those
well.
first person sections. Something I was really surprised by, because I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I really love them. I think they're just beautiful overall. Is in a horror game, they always felt very safe. I kept expecting. I don't know if this was the same for you guys. In every single one of both the cuts to first person and like the little zoom ins, I kept expecting a jump scare from at least one of them. Because I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
there's no way you're
Me
going to
too.
provide safety in every single one of these the whole game. But there's never like a payoff scare, which I really like. Looking back, I really appreciated. Like that was a genuine moment of just kind of safety and calm, and you could just
Yeah.
kind of put aside everything else that's happening around you.
So
Yeah,
Mm.
I fully agree. It's like I remember those sections being like a sigh of relief whenever I made it.
I
Exactly. Yeah.
was the opposite because I was wound a little bit like so tight by the game. Anytime I saw enemies on screen, I wasn't scared at all. I was like, I know what I'm doing. I was kind of relaxed. Those
Mm.
sections where there was no payoff scare whatsoever, I felt so awful going through. I was like, come on, hit me with it. Let me see what's going on here. Don't just make me sit here. Don't make me walk down a train station in first person. Make me row to the Isle of the Dead in first person. I don't want to do this. Please just jump scare me. Uh, but no, the game hurt me. And now those sections aren't that scary anymore. But like first playthrough, it was rough for me with
Oh
those.
yeah. Moving going back to the first person's perspective when you leave the Penrose. I want to know, especially Felix's thoughts on this.
Mm.
As you're walking through the snow and you can't see much ahead of you, you start encountering these giant pillars like ominously like on top of the hill. And as you go up to this like block like rectangular gate with three pillars, um there's a giant red pit like in the middle of the white snow that you must like go down and go into. Um, and from there, as you get to the bottom of the pit, there is a hole in the wall, and I don't know like what Elsa's train of thought was with this, but I try to go back up the stairs at one point, and she's like, "It's too cold to go back up there, so how about I just only other option is climb through the fucking hole in the wall." What were your thoughts on that?
Um, for me, like for the most part, I was just trying to piece together what was going on, like yeah, just trying to figure out what was going on, and like just trying to like make sure like I could like kind of like understand what was going on.
Yeah, it was
Um,
like trippy, right?
it was so weird, like just seeing those things it was just crazy. Um,
And there's
Yeah.
no signs to go forward or anything. You just kind of have to push on through.
exactly.
This section is where I was sold on the game. Like
This is
when
like
Weird.
five
right.
minutes into the game. What do you mean this
Yeah,
section?
Look, man,
I'm being
I get
completely
giddy about
real.
this moment. I will rewatch it.
Daniel, like the opening cutscene after this, where it's like you get the King in Yellow, and like I I'm a simp for
You enter the
Lovecraftian
radio
horror.
room.
You enter
Yeah,
the
You
radio
enter you
room.
enter the radio
You
room,
hear
and you
the
look behind
German
you.
numbers being,
The
that
wall
was
closes
it was
behind
recited to
you.
you.
so weird.
Yeah. And then you see Elster's like face peeling off into
Oh my
metal while
gosh.
some Lovecraft, I think it's from The Harvest or whatever, is read to you,
Mm.
where it's
Achtung, Achtung.
that's the German numbers, but the quotes are from Lovecraft, right? And it's things
Mm.
that ought to have crawled,
Bro,
learned
I've
to
learned
walk.
to walk.
I
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
love
my
that.
god,
Great.
that was
That's
Great.
where I was like,
Oh
crazy.
my gosh, that was unsettling. And then I also wrote in here on my notes in quotes after that great holes are secretly digged where earth's pores ought to suffice, and things
yeah,
have learned
Mm.
to walk that ought to crawl. And then the face is peeling, and then it goes just very plainly, remember our promise.
yeah. That's where I was like,
That
okay,
was
yeah, I'm playing through the
yeah,
entirety of this
that
game.
was crazy. That was like a theme, like Lovecraft. There was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like a bunch of the like quotes throughout the game, which I thought was really really cool
You'll know
that they
King in Yellow
incorporated
too,
that so
right?
much.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't.
Uh,
Mm-mm.
well, for those of you who don't know King in Yellow, do you want to take that, Daniel, or do you want me?
Well, I think we might be jumping the gun a little bit if we get
Well,
into the whole King and Yellow
it's
stuff.
shown
But
there.
there's
It's
a book
like,
that is shown in the intro that is
yeah,
constantly referenced throughout the game. It is like shown as a physical object, and
and
then
I
there
think
are
they talk
lines
about
from it.
Carcosa a couple times
Yeah, yeah.
in the game as well.
It's this fictional work. I don't remember the name of the original work it's from, but
I
The King in
think,
Yellow itself is a play within
yeah,
that original work that anyone who reads it or sees it performed, I'm pretty sure,
goes
goes
mad.
insane. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the
Mm.
titular King in Yellow is a character who appears to two women in Act One, and anyone who like reads past that point, I'm pretty sure after the King in Yellow arrives, and he always wears a mask. The King in Yellow. Everyone wants to know what's behind the mask.
It's not a mask.
Um, whoa,
Whoa.
whoa.
Yeah, no, because he's in a masquerade and he's like, my lady, I have no mask. But doom crash. And
And
then
if
you
you've
go insane.
if any listeners have ever played Fear and Hunger or Fear and Hunger 2, then it might sound a
Yeah.
little
Then
familiar.
Lagarde is the king in yellow, guys. Griffith is the king in yellow. It's crazy.
Oh man, I'm sensing some parallels. Well, with that stellar opening to the game, it's just like game intro, bam, tells you Signalis, and then from there, like the music like dies down. Oh, by the way, something I forgot to touch on. I really appreciate how like kind of classical the soundtrack is.
Yeah,
Like
it's interesting.
kind of like Mozart or like Beethoven. I don't know many
They've
music.
got Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake,
Yeah.
OP 20, Movement 2.
But the thing is, at least with the composition, some of it is like completely right, but other times some notes are changed and then parts of it are looped in and of itself. Kind of like these old consciousnesses, these old identities, these old pieces of humanity have been warped and twisted, warped and twisted, warped and twisted over and over and over again. Kind of like something else in the game that we'll touch on, you know?
We're
There's the
already getting meta
soundtrack's
here.
just so good already. Yeah,
Oh my-
we gotta dive. We gotta be purely physical. We're in the first room. We see the King in Yellow. We see the computer screen.
Yeah.
That first radio signal, that first whole cutscene is just so like
Peak.
it's so good at setting
It
things
was
up, but just being mysterious.
Mhm.
it was also just so like creepy, like the way that they like start off with like a completely normal person, and then like just like they just like flash it, and then they go to like more numbers, and then like they flash like half a face, and then
Yeah.
it was oh my god.
So
Yeah.
unsettling. It
Yeah.
sells the game so hard, like and you aren't even really scared. It's just kind of building up that like anticipation. Like you're so curious at that point. Like they've clearly like established a mystery and given you a
Mm.
goal, and like that's it. Like go right to it. And so
I
from
was
there,
scared.
the game starts like officially. We're only 5 minutes in at this point. Starts in German. I don't speak German well, but it says Kapitel the I just said Russian there. uh, capital Ein. So you get the whole Silent Hill 2 intro where you start in the bathroom looking at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's at this point you're on the Sierpinski mining station, and so you
And-
step out into the main entrance. There's an elevator that's clearly supposed to lead to the surface. It's a shaft, and you at this point, like, you have to start um, exploring rooms,
Well, you
and
talk to that receptionist lady first, if I remember correctly.
the, there's no receptionist lady.
No,
Oh,
there's on
wait.
the.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Uh, I'm like talking like the very first room. There's a reception desk, but no one's there. It's just a note
Oh
saying like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so
Go to
you
the
walk around a
classroom.
bit, like literally 3 rooms in, and you find the corpse of a replicant unit lying on the floor. And that's if that's not enough to like freak you out, then you're in for a treat later. But one room over from that is the first safe room of the game, and I just want to stay with the save rooms. It's like the red tile, yeah, another Silent Hill 2 reference, at least in my eyes. And but at least when you click the terminal, there's this like eerie, like high pitched noise, like a violin, like shrieking as like the save state menu comes up.
Yeah.
A-
I
And please, Felix, please.
I get freaked out every single time I save. I'm like hesitant to save because I don't want to hear that noise,
Same
bro.
here. It's like I don't want to save.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, it's so rough. So I really like that sound effect in that room, especially. But I digress, and further into the level you go, and it's at this point, navigating around, you're familiarizing yourself with your environment, and you find a degraded, well, no, wait, that's the degraded Yule's corpse. I'm looking at my notes here. Sorry, guys. But you find a replicant unit named Star, and she's bleeding out.
yeah. Mhm.
Um, and she tells you to leave. And you ask her about a woman from the photograph that you picked up, which, hint, hint, wink, wink. The photo you grabbed on the pin roast has changed, and it's half corrupted, and it's a white-haired woman.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
Mm.
pretty freaky. And so you show it to Star. She says she's probably in the mines below, and so at this point you've got your objective. I've got to go deeper into this facility. Um,
yeah.
you know,
Just for some like basic terminology that we're gonna go through. I think by now we know that we're replicas, right? Which are
right?
basically
Yeah,
androids. You can kind of think of them like replicants in Blade Runner, except a lot more mechanical. Though they
Mm.
do have flesh, so do with that
and
what you will.
organs. Yeah, it's
And
like
organs.
a fusion of like metal prosthetics and like armor
Yeah,
and
yeah.
flesh and tissue.
And we have gestalt, which is an important term that we'll talk about later, which are humans in this
Right. Yes.
universe. And I think this would be a really good time for you, Jack, to talk a little bit about the Eastern Bloc influences are here, because we go through in order to do a lot of the stuff, some of the school stuff. We learn about the rule of six, right? Uh,
Mm.
all that, the propaganda posters. So
Is it
Yes.
still the
Right.
rule of six, real quick? Have they updated the
yeah,
inventory size, or is it okay?
It's
It's still
the
six.
rule of six, with the exception of the flashlight and the photographic eye.
Yeah, yeah,
That was really
Yeah.
cool. How they like justified how many inventory slots you get.
yeah,
yeah. I thought so.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. It's not like limitless, It's like it adds to the tension of the game. And thank you for bringing up the Eastern Bloc, Joel, because yes, if you haven't, for anyone who's played the game, you'd understand that this is a very like authoritarian, like German influenced game. When I first played through, like first thing that popped into my head was, oh dang, did the Nazis win the war? Like what's going on here? But no, especially like as you find notes, the classrooms and like all the environments, like if there's anything hanging on the walls, it is propaganda. Propaganda for
Yeah,
like replicant units, propaganda for the Yusan nation and how glorious it is. um Introducing to you Adler, the resident admissions officer
the
of the
goat.
Sierpinski station, the goat Chadler.
Mm.
There's notes left around, uh saying, like, for example, there's a classroom safe that you have to unlock in order to get an important item, and apparently the code's been leaked to that safe, and somebody writes in a note that you find, radio restrictions by Adler for the remaining time until they manage to find the culprit who leaked like these radio codes.
Mm.
And so clearly, like, things are like tightly shut. um, Radio restriction is like commonplace here. People do not seem to have like many rights. I
yeah.
the image I get is, I think, from the Sierpinski, and correct me if I'm wrong. but I think there's people kind of are sent here as if it's like it's a labor camp essentially.
A penal colony, I think it's
Yeah,
described as. Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it is that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like if you're there, it's not like a good thing.
Yeah.
You It's like work
Yeah,
will
yeah.
set you free, kind of like Stalinistic, if you ask me. And so,
Well,
like,
yeah.
yeah, kind of like with this game, I'm getting a lot of themes of like, or not themes, but ideas of nationalism and authoritarian rule, and
Mm.
100%.
as we'll talk furthermore as we go on, the game clearly you're going to meet people and find things that is either the Yusan Nation trying to keep things under wraps and like keep the people controlled and in line, or people finding ways to like break the rules, bend them, and find means of expressing themselves, even in this like dire landscape of inevitable like um authoritarian control.
Yeah, uh, big time. The authoritarian, sorry, authoritarianism. Jesus Christ, I can't talk.
No
Is
worries.
a really important factor in Signalis, especially when you start to examine a lot of the queer themes in the game, which we
Mm.
can't really yap about right now because it's a little too early
Too
uh,
early.
in the game. But I will say, it's definitely taking some like Soviet imagery, 100%. It led to, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but one of the worst shitty takes I've seen on Twitter about this game, where
Uh-oh.
like, so, oh my god, dude, like I'm pretty far left leaning, pretty far left. But this one dude, he swung so left that he's simping for Stalin, and he was essentially like,
What?
hey,
No.
he
Oh
was
my
essentially
god.
like, "Hey man, Signalis is a bad game because it hates all communists and it hates my glorious King Joseph
Oh
Stalin."
my god.
He's got to be trolling, no shot.
No,
That's
no, dude,
hilarious.
he was like dead
You just
ass
found Adler's
defending
alt
it.
account. That's
No
it.
Yeah,
way.
exactly that. That was Adler's alt account. No, because it wasn't Adler's alt account because Adler is very clearly simping for Falk. This guy was simping for
Mm.
Stalin. He's one of the gays like me. I'm like,
Now that you bring up Adler and something for Falk, I do want to discuss that later. I don't want to delve too deep into it now, but
Mm.
there's a lot
okay.
of like ideas of like what is it, like feminism in this game, even when it's
Yeah.
like with Adler, I think feminism is or like the ideas of feminine traits are expressed through Adler,
Yeah.
because as
Yeah.
Falk
Which
like
is really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, like with Falk, for those who don't know, she's the commander of the Sierpensky.
Mining facility. Yeah.
Adler is simping for her because she kind of has like motherly traits.
Mm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Adler's like the only real guy. Like actually, yeah, he's the only like male figure you meet in Signalis. Everyone else is women. So I think the idea of like nurturing roles and motherly tendencies is very prevalent in this game. So
Mm.
yeah, but to move on with the levels, just so we stay on track. Um, you move around a bit, and you know, lo and behold, after you meet this star unit who's bleeding out, you go back to where you were earlier, right before the save room in that hallway, and I'm sure if, everyone here can attest, they were off guard by the replicant unit that has decided to come back from the dead and start attacking you. Any thoughts on that? How did
I
you
shit
feel,
my
guys?
pants straight up.
Oh god. Fair dude though. Honestly.
Oh,
Um
dude, freaky. Ugh.
I don't know. Again, it's weird. The segments in Signalis that really got under my skin and messed with me were not like the abject moments of horror in the gameplay. So when the first thing came up, I was like, all right, yeah, we're I'm expecting it. I've played Resident Evil 2 before, both the remake and the original. So like I know
Mm.
things aren't dead here, you know.
Season pro.
No, I guess, but like when it does stuff scare me, it makes it 10 times worse uh
Yeah.
for the game.
Like you don't get that relief of what was being
Yeah.
expected, for
And I
sure.
Mm.
think the game, correct me if I'm wrong, but it lets you walk past like 3 or 4 rooms with corpses in them
Oh
before it
yeah.
kills you. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
lets you, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
If
like
that
at that
fucks you
point,
up for a
like
little bit.
Yeah, it's not like an immediate thing. It's like
Yeah.
they hold off on it. They delay the scare.
Yeah.
And now that
Absolutely.
we're in the game proper, I want to ask you guys how you guys played the game, I guess. Were you shooting every single what are they? Shrike units? Uh what are
Strike,
the
yeah.
strike? Yeah. Were you shooting all of them?
Um,
Or
well,
were you
I
running
got.
past
I know that your ending is determined by what you do. So
them?
I we'll talk about that later. Probably I won't bring it up. But I took a lot of damage and I shot a lot of things. I shot too many things. I really didn't conserve ammo ever. If I had ammo, I was shooting it at something. You know,
Yeah,
I I
I
was the
was
same way.
I moved very, very slowly as well through the game, I'd say. Like, I took a bit longer maybe than usual, partly because of puzzles, but also partly because I backtracked a lot. Just a lot of the time, I didn't know where I was supposed to go, which is not the game's fault. The game is actually really clear once you figure it out on what you're supposed to do. I never felt cheated. But because of that, I would keep going back into rooms where enemies would respawn because I actually don't know how the respawn timer works. Because you can go back to a room and people won't respawn, but then you'll go back to like three more times. And on the third time they do respawn, and it was always it was interesting for me how I felt like I was just fighting endless waves of people. And I want to. Is it the same for you guys, or were you guys much more conservative?
I tried to save ammo as much as possible by only like shooting like the minimal amount of times to kill an enemy,
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, but that didn't work. I was always out of ammo.
Oh, damn. I was like you, Felix, but I never really ran out of ammo.
Mm.
Except for, okay, when I was playing it, the shotgun. Wait, actually, no, it wasn't the shotgun. It was the pistol. So
Yeah,
later on in the game, I never had pistol ammo to begin with. But like, you're supposed to replace it anyway, with the shotgun later on. I was just so much of
yeah,
a stingy bastard that I refused to use it, except in boss fights. I'd be running past full rooms of enemies because I was like, I've played Resident Evil before. I need to keep my ammo. And I do think this game is balanced a lot more along the lines of a Resident Evil, like early style, than Silent Hill 2. Because if you've played Silent Hill 2, you would know there is no point in saving ammo at all. You get so
Just
much of
fucking
it
light
throughout the
those
game.
bitches up.
Mm.
Like by the end of it, and I was playing relatively conservatively with Silent Hill 2. James had like 200 rounds for his handgun, 30 rounds for
It's
his
nuts.
hunting rifle, and then like 60 rounds for his shotgun. He had a giant butcher's knife. And I'm like, man, maybe I should have used way more money because James, not money, ammo, because James is
He has a
really
whole armory.
should not be having this much. Brother's a depressed male fail wife,
yeah,
So
Oh man. No, I kind of played like you, Daniel, where I
yeah,
like kind of shot everything. I never really found myself like running past enemies unless I had to, but
yeah,
I know I was gonna have to loop back to them anyway. So I didn't
yeah,
really conserve, but I also did what Joel did. Try to use pistols before shotgun. A lot of the time, just because I was ready for those boss sections. Yeah, no. The play styles, I like how it's like welcoming to all. You're not set in one way. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
moving back to the story, you know, still on the first floor, right before you jump down, you meet your first actually, it's the first or only like person in the game
The
that's a
only
Gestalt.
person, the only
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
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 the only
Isa
Gestalt.
Ital. You
Issa,
meet
yeah,
Issa Ital, and you walk in on her in the library. It's having stabbed a replicant, probably in monster form, to
Mm.
death, and she's like very distressed. And it's kind of looking like the girl from the opening. They do a quick blurb or a quick flash of
yeah.
her,
And she's in the
and
opening,
yeah,
holding a
she's in the
knife. I
opening.
think. Yeah.
next
Yep,
to her
and
So is
eye.
it
immediately
your
you're
first
introduced.
time? Yeah,
Yeah, which there's not much to go on with Issa right now, but she will play a pivotal part later. And having met her, and going down further before meeting her again, you will find some notes written by other people, and maybe also documents that do mention Isa. So you can it's pretty cool. You can follow her journey as you progress through the game. Um,
Yeah, she has some interesting parallels uh, to other characters, especially later on when something happens to her. Well,
yeah.
I'm being vague. I'm being vague. I'm sorry. Uh,
it's all good.
unless you want to cover it right now, we can jump ahead. I'm cool with that.
No, no. I
Maybe
feel
we can
like
hold off
Issa,
on
like
it.
her story goes throughout like it's so necessary for the game. Kind of. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if we can explain it without explaining so many other things.
True.
Well, I think we're gonna have to work our way through it. But yeah, so we'll keep her in mind. You're following her journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
following her journey.
She's there to
Anyway,
search for her twin sister, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what she's doing there. So she's also going to be going down to those dreaded
Yeah, so
corridors.
we have two women looking for people who are really close to them going down. That's a yeah.
Yep. So anyway, moving on from the first floor, you unlock, you grab a key and you unlock the door that's in the same room as the star unit. Although lo and behold, I can't remember off the top of my head. Is she just simply dead, or is her corpse gone? I think her corpse was gone.
I
I
I
think
thought it
she's
got
gone.
up to kill you.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
think she
know.
was gone.
No. I
Mm.
don't think it gets up to kill you because I think I was expecting them to get up to kill you, and I was surprised that they didn't. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I remember that like specifically.
Yeah,
Mm.
I remember no action in that room. That's for sure. So I'm pretty sure her
Okay.
corpse is gone because I just saw a blood stain where she
Then
was. Either way,
that'd make sense if her corpse is
yeah.
gone.
Mm.
Which is also kind of creepy in and of itself because she's roaming around somewhere, probably turned. But
Mm.
regardless, you open this door, you step into this unlocked classroom, and I was not expecting like how to get down, but there's just a giant like massive hole uh in this classroom. So it's like you just jump down like, oh well, shit, there's no turning back here, is
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any chance of escape, like as you go deeper into like what I consider hell, there's no turning back. You have to go forward at this point.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's also a
Yep.
big Silent Hill reference. James
Oh, that
jumps down
too.
a shit ton of holes in his journey,
I
and like
I
it's
never
very
thought of it like that.
well. No,
Fuck.
yeah, it's very explicit in Silent Hill 2. Like you remember that one hole where it's not perhaps this is hell. It's like this is hell, James. This is your punishment or
Yeah,
whatever on the wall,
that's
and then he
right.
has to jump in the giant hole and then goes to the prison. That's
Well,
essentially.
here's the difference for me with Silent Hill 2. And Dan, Felix, I don't know if you guys ever played Silent Hill 2,
Never
so
ever.
never.
Nah, no.
Okay. Well, with Silent Hill 2, there's this segment. This is what Joel's referring to, where James just jumps down like what appears to be a bottomless hole, which is super bizarre, right? So you jump down this bottomless hole, and like immediately after that, there's like another one, and then another one, and another. Like it just keeps going on and on and on. Whereas with Signalis, I think it plays it better. I consider this more of like an environmental thing because I'm
Mm,
in
Mm.
my head I'm thinking what tore open this hole in the floor. And so I jumped down. Clearly there's another floor below, seeing as this is a multi-floored compound. Um, and so you jump down and you make it to level 2, and immediately you're greeted with a sinister cutscene of the corrupted corpses of replicants walking around like zombie-like with like
yeah,
a butcher's knife. There's one like chopping up some kind of meat. You don't know if it's human or
Yeah, that
not.
was
cool as hell.
That's
definitely.
exactly what you're gonna say, Felix, right?
Oh yes, for sure.
Oh man, yeah, and immediately it's just like such a, I don't know if it's like a drastic tone shift, but like it's just things have escalated now, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I do agree with you that I think Signalis spaces it out a little bit better than Silent Hill 2. I don't know which one I like more. Because both games I love for kind of the same reasons to an extent. Uh, but with Signalis, I was always pretty cognizant because you can see this as a trope in video games in general. If they want to communicate that your protagonist, the person that you are playing, is undergoing mental strife, their level design will almost always have the player go down, never upwards,
Mm.
right? So you
mm,
can look to games like Silent Hill 2, where James is jumping in those holes, right, all the time, and he's going down. There's no way up. Spec Ops: The Line, that game is pretty good. It does have some problems, but I really like it. Uh, the level design in that game, Captain Martin Walker is almost never going upstairs. He's always descending down, either falling, going down zip lines, walking down giant sand hills. And then same with Signalis. Like, yeah, individual levels you may go up ladders, but pretty much always to make progress to other levels, you're jumping down holes. You're trying to get to the bottom of the mine. Eventually, there'll be a
Mm.
giant meat hole that you have to jump down. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of confusing.
The I love the insight. So yeah, now you're on level 2. A
Mm,
lot more enemies on this floor that you have to navigate. This is truly where the game starts ramping up, and you have your little dinky pistol that you're running around with very few
Mhm.
bullets.
mm,
There's a lot more like bloody surfaces, torn apart unit corpses. There's also like turned over lockers in this area just to build a description of the setting.
Oh yeah.
Immediately, there's some locked doors that you have to navigate, and if you head straight north, you can. This leads to the lockers and bunks of residents of the Sierpensky space station. I
Mm.
have here in my notes some of the like, there's a diary from Melina Seo. Um,
Mm,
saying she feels lightheaded and that she hasn't seen Elster for a few days. And in
mm,
another room, there's another worker's bunk with a diary on it discussing the ration plan and how the protector count keeps changing. Protector being replicant units who are like, they're the enforcers, authoritarian police of the station, keeping people in line, and
mhm.
how the numbers keep changing. Um, and she can also sense that there's fear and wonder, uh, what they are hiding from Gestalt workers. Not that this, I don't think this adds a lot to like the story, but I think it adds a lot to like the environment of what's
mm.
going on, and also kind of gives background into how life ran uh,
No,
before the total takeover of this facility.
I think you're completely valid for pointing this stuff out because like for me, good world building when put with a really good story helps to accentuate the themes. And if you didn't have any
Mm,
of these diaries, stuff like that, a lot of the themes of repression through the totalitarian regime and the stamping out of queer identities wouldn't hit
Mm.
as hard. I mean, they'd still hit hard. Don't get me wrong. Like I
mm.
got close to, I was really really sad at certain parts in this where I was like, damn, if I was a bit more emotionally healthy, I probably would have cried at that. um, uh, uh, but yeah, the world building really helps to sell that like this is a cruel world who does not care for people.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Mm.
you got thoughts,
Absolutely.
Felix?
Basically, just what you said is like also going back to like the Stalin like
Yeah,
themes. It's very much like Eastern Germany, and
yeah,
like that was I thought that was really cool that they added like the German like developers. They might have had like some first hand experience from that, and I feel like they did a pretty good job like putting that in the game.
yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely. Now that you think of it, now that you mention that, Felix, I mean, I think a lot of people of our generation forget this. For context, I'm a 2002 baby. Most of us, or actually all of us are 2000s babies. So we weren't around like our parents were when there was a Soviet Union. So I think you make a great point because for us, at least in my eyes, uh, you know, Germany and like all these other like Eastern European countries are, their own things. But back when the Soviet Union was around, Eastern Germany was its own thing, and
Mm,
repression was major in this. So I think those themes and ideas of like how life was is kind of reflective of those like regimes
Mhm.
for sure.
definitely.
Moving on with the level design, you know, uh, this is where you encounter your first like I think like brute force puzzle. Truly,
Mm.
this is the lockpick section with the North Hall, and you don't
Oh
need.
shit. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything besides a note like from like the worker who is there, like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be here. Somebody else is gonna have to pick this lock." And
Mm,
so you have to start like zapping the lockpick device and opening up like or trying to gauge the distance between things. I think that puzzle. I thought it was an okay puzzle. Wasn't my favorite, personally.
was this the
Uh,
one to open the elevator?
uh, no, no. This opens up the North Hall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like how you had to zap like the lockpick device and like
Yeah.
like keys would get pushed. I thought
Mm,
I was at some point like I kind of get got the gist of it, but at first I was like, what am I doing? Like, am I just like having a trial and error this? Either way,
mm,
you open up this door and it leads into a more expansive area of second floor. And at this point, you haven't really been attacked or anything quite yet on this floor. But as you navigate, you find like a storage room with a butterfly box that you need to open,
Mm.
and you navigate around some more looking for items, and this is where you truly encounter the butcher section of this
Hmm.
game. Like, I think this is where like the stealth truly like comes into play if you play it stealthy, because there's a note that says like no running in the halls. You will be reprimanded. Everyone can hear in this facility if you're running.
Yeah.
Like this was pre-zombies, but that kind of plays out into, oh, aha, don't run past this guy or else he's gonna chase me.
Yeah, and it is pre-zombie, right? But you could also see it as part of the Serpensky bending around Elster. Like we haven't gotten to the truly mind-bending portions of the game, right? But on repeat playthroughs, you kind of have to wonder how much of this is real. Uh, and I don't want to be like the standard YouTuber, guys. It was all in the head, all right?
Yeah.
But with the functions of the world being what it is, right? Even if it is quote unquote all in the head, right? It's still real to them due to the factors of bioresonance and like what is it? The red eye over fuck. I'm trying to remember. I know it's the red eye, but I don't remember what planet it's over.
Oh, is it
Oh.
Rotfront or Heimat?
I think yeah, right. Yes, Rotfront,
I
red
think
eye
it's
over
over
Rotfront.
the Red Eye of Rotfront. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
We'll delve more into the red eye later. Let's see. I'm looking at my notes here. You progress around. You find more notes that the administrator unit Adler is acting unusual lately, and he needs to be watched since the commander is not around to keep things in check. So clearly, like the leadership is like all in disarray right now.
Mhm.
For the
Yeah.
Serpensky. And as you navigate more of the levels, you find security rooms of people who have been interrogated in this section. And I think it's also. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's also on this floor. No, wait, sorry. I'm about to get ahead of myself with the radio. But either way, you find two key parts to unlock the butterfly box, and you find a note talking about excuse me, other planets in this world. So it's building up stuff. I want to touch real quickly because this is not something I learned until, uh, dear listener, for context, I'm a poli sci major, and also a Russian speaking major. So I discuss a lot of like these theoretical political ideas. Notably, one planet in this universe is called Heimat. Uh,
Heimat.
yeah, do any of you guys know what that means?
No clue.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
All right, so Heimat, it's very Germanic, of course. I think I learned about it in reading Karl von Clausewitz, and Heimat is quite literally home when translated. And Heimat, with Clausewitz, a lot of like ideas of home and culture are discussed, and how you unify people by making a unifying culture and
Mm.
language. So like going back to like the Soviet Union, right? Um,
Mm.
when the Soviet Union rolls over, like it keeps coming west and west and west. It's trying to create like a more homogenous culture, make people speak a certain language. So, like in this case, Russian. In this universe, German, probably. Um,
Mm.
and it's trying to homogenize culture that way you can get people to conform more easily, because if you have people who don't agree, there's going to be more rebellion and more like heterogeneous thought. And so I
Yeah.
just thought that was cool, this idea of Heimat.
Mm.
Like it's
Yeah.
clearly this one planet is where you know the Yusan nation originated from.
No, it makes perfect sense that it originated from there. That's really cool. Thank you, Jack.
That's really
I
Yeah.
cool.
got
Yeah.
I got my own fun fact actually about these planets because
Oh yeah. Go back to
yeah,
back.
actually, no, seriously. For I'm a nerd, sadly, and I write a lot for D&D. And I was looking at famous, sunken cities. And did you know that Katesh, one of the maps in the solar system, we have a planet called Kitezh, Katesh, is a famous sunken city. It was built on the Volga River. Legend has it that Gregory II, Grand Prince of Vladimir, built it on the Volga River. the Mongols of the Golden Horde were coming to attack it, and the people were so righteous that they prayed to God, and God saved them by sinking the city underneath. And there they live in perpetuity, in great
Oh,
happiness, I guess. And the legend says that if you walk by it, you can still hear church bells ringing if you are righteous enough.
Huh.
Fun fact.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's really thematically significant, other than maybe the idea of descending down, and also God doing things for people that, like, and of course Signalis would probably twist it to be like, yeah, God drowned all those fuckers and they're in hell now, suffering.
Hmm.
But fun fact.
Thank you for that. That I like that. Oh, I did not know that. Anyway,
Hey, no,
going
no, no.
back to the game.
Sorry, guys. Wait, no, we're not going back to the game. You guys have to have fun facts too. You two. Daniel,
Oh wait, yeah,
Felix.
Felix,
My
Daniel's
fun
here.
fact about Signalis.
No, about the
Oh,
planets.
shit.
It has to be the planets.
About the
About the
planets.
Exactly.
Perfect, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Tell me, Bouillon.
Moving on.
I got, yeah, no fun facts. Sorry, I didn't do my research.
No, it's okay.
Me neither.
That's okay. You can come with something next time.
Wait, hold up. Sorry, guys, we might have cracked something huge here. Beyond is described as a mysterious island in the ocean, and with the ability to appear and disappear with the tide. So we're getting big. No,
Ooh.
we're getting big ocean imagery here, and that could be because these correspond with like Neptune and Uranus. Because there is a fan theory among, though it wouldn't make sense with the rings that they're on, but like there's a fan
Yeah.
theory that every thing in Signalis corresponds to planets on Earth.
Yeah, where rod front is just the big red spot of Jupiter, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it
Mm.
now. Huh, interesting.
Crazy.
Veneta might be Earth, right? Then, because there's
That might
oceans
be
on
Earth
Veneta.
or Venus,
Hmm.
maybe. I can't remember. Oh yeah, Veneta has oceans. Yeah. No, and then what is it? Like when it goes back to the first person perspectives, there's more information to be had there with these planets. Um Speaking of first person section, shortly after you get the keys to the butterfly box in the storage room that's been confiscated from, I think it's Issa Itao, or is it Alina Seo? I can't remember which. I think it was Alina Seo that got arrested. And the cosmetic butterfly box was confiscated. You get the keys to open this up, and it's here that you have your first first person section since the opening of the game. You get transported to a snowy mountain top with a bridge that you have to cross, where there's a satellite dish and a radio station that you have to walk around. I find this area very calming, personally. What about you guys? What do you think of this section?
I was a little bit on edge, especially since you start off on like a rope bridge. That's
Felix.
a little bit rickety,
Yeah.
to say the least. But after you get on to like the actual like land part, I feel like it was pretty calming, but I felt like something was gonna jump out of the back room
Yeah, this is where you
in
get the
the
radio,
in the
right?
house.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This is where you get the
No,
radio.
the radio fucked me over. Like I can't do this shit. The first person sections again. I told you guys, a massive coward when it comes to this stuff. I don't know why. The game breaking its own rules and making you first person, I guess, really messes with me, especially when they don't give you payoff.
What do you think of on this, sorry, on the space station? It's supposed to feel homely, but then like you go up to the satellite dish base, punch in a code or frequency, and what do you think of the door that opens up and like just descends down?
Oh, that
Mm,
was weird.
Is the
disgusting.
door
I hate it.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to picture it in my head. It does descend down. I didn't remember it descending, which is crazy.
I
Yeah.
think it descends down, or at the very least, like it goes into it. I mean, where else is there to go
Mm.
besides
You
down
can
with the
never go up
satellite
in this
dish?
game. It's so sad. You just have to keep going further down. Even in a flashback or dream or whatever you want to call that little section.
Yeah,
Or
no,
flashback would be accurate. Though I guess.
But you do get the radio from it though. So that's why I don't want to call it a flashback because you know.
So
Yeah.
the thing
I
is,
know,
if you go,
I know.
okay. Well, we can talk about it since we're talking about
Yeah,
it
I
right now.
guess
If
we
you
can
go
because
up,
this is like a
yeah.
pretty you get
If you
a
go
physical
up,
object from this dream. So yeah, Joe, what you want to explain it?
no, you can or me, either one. I don't care. Or we can both chime in whenever. Uh,
Perfect.
But like the general idea, at least to me, is that like dreams and reality or memories and reality are converging upon each other due to the
Mm.
influence of something we don't know yet. We have no idea what it is, and we won't talk about that yet because spoilers, right? Uh, but something is causing these spaces to meld, and it's also what's causing this, like the idea of you, the outside observer, watching the story play out, to be pulled in and then forced to participate through first person, right? All of these realities are melding and mending, and your identity is simultaneously being lost in this gestalt. Heh, heh. No, okay. Yeah, I deserve to be shot for that one. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, you got thoughts,
Uh,
Daniel? That good? Then no.
No,
Like,
no, I think you got it perfectly. And like that
perfect.
idea
so
of
the
just
radio.
reality kind of folding in on itself. No, go ahead, Jack. The radio, the radio.
Oh yeah, reality falling on itself. Sorry, I don't think in very like intangible ways. So my more thought process was, well, that was fucking weird, and now I'm stuck with this radio device that I can connect to myself. Uh, the radio, right? Navigating with the radio is it's just it's such an experience because
It's the
I
coolest
have
gameplay mechanic
always
in this game.
I thought it
coolest
was pretty
gameplay mechanic.
sick.
It's so sick, but it's also so terrifying.
Yeah,
Mm.
especially
Like, oh
when
my
like
gosh, the static.
yeah, especially in those combat arenas later with the Calibra units, where they'll
Oh
be
my
on screen
god,
and enemies will be on screen, where you have to tune a
Yeah.
radio frequency
that
and
was
have to
literally the
fight people off at the
worst.
same
Oh my
time.
god, that was terrible.
Oh yeah, but the radio is such like a like you don't think it's going to be too big. You know, at first you might write it off as like a one-off thing, just open up a puzzle here and there, but like it just becomes so integral. All right, so from level 2, you take after you get the radio, you take the administrative elevator down a floor to the hospital section. There's not I don't personally there's not much to say about the hospital section in terms of
Other
lore.
than the stupid ass X-ray puzzle.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, no, awful puzzle.
I
look,
actually liked it.
I
I
know
liked
because
it.
you're
Yeah, I got
Unpopular
given okay.
opinion.
no, that's
I
not
thought
unpopular.
I thought it was all right. I thought it was
You
all right.
guys didn't get filtered. That's the thing. I got filtered because I'm a moron and I flipped the thing the wrong way. All right, like I had the puzzle right, but I just flipped it the wrong way. So I kept putting in the little what is it? The sliding code where you like because it's got the
The
arrow
little
the
maze.
order. Yeah, the maze that you need to fill out.
Mm.
I kept putting it in, and it's like, why isn't this right? Why isn't this right? It made me put down the game for like 2 weeks because I spent 2 hours on it, and then I
Okay.
realized that I was just a moron.
Oh, skill is
This was the
I
only
actually
way.
did I actually did the same thing, but then I looked at the X-ray, and then in one of the corners of like the actual card, there's like a clip.
What?
Yeah,
No,
I think they might have
that's
like changed
bullshit.
that. Yeah,
Wait,
Oh
so
no, I missed that.
that's how I knew how to like orient it, and that's how I actually
no.
like
I missed
I
it.
actually did get filtered as well. I had it the wrong way, but then I had to I flipped it in order
that's
for it to be
that's
right with the clip.
that's foul, man. I played through this game like 4 times after that. I always look up a guide for that puzzle at that point. Like I didn't know that's how you actually solve it. I just oh my god.
Oh man, well, yeah, no, that puzzle was rough, but for
It
the
was
most part,
weird. It was weird.
this floor is mostly about navigating around the medical bay, and so there's the old medical bay and the new medical bay. You navigate around. You find an what is it? I have here in the morgue. There's an RA unit who's dead. But Elster makes a comment, and yet she looks at peace. Which I think is probably better fate than most of the other stuff in here. But you do
Mm.
manage to meet a living replicant unit on this floor. But she, for the most part, she just like she's like, all my friends have turned. I don't know what's going on. I just don't want to go out there, and like that's that with her.
Yeah.
All of the
Let's see
replicant
here.
units that you meet in this game are strangely like they're varying degrees of like accepting their fate. We get to later in the mines, which we'll talk about more heavily on the next episode. The what is it, Mina unit, the big tank,
Minor, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
who
love
is
those
just
units.
where you can talk to her and you can miss her. And she talks about how like thank you for talking to me. I can't move anymore.
Yeah,
You're gonna die
yeah,
here, kind of thing.
that was
And
Yeah.
it's
crazy.
She's
Yeah.
the sweetest. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
This hospital section. Let's see. You meet this unit, and then as you progress around, you have to solve like a lot of puzzles, key cards, and everything. The burner puzzle too, to open up the furnace. There's a lot of bodies, and you find out that you can only officially kill these things from coming back to life by burning them. So
Mm.
fun little gameplay mechanic that comes in with that at a later point. But a section I forgot about in terms of just like enemies, I forgot they came out of the floor.
Oh my god.
Like
That
Yeah.
was
that was
annoying.
such a panic, stepping into the middle of a room and being like surrounded by like enemies like coming out of the tiles all of a sudden completely caught me off guard.
Hmm.
It was rough, but
Once again, my pants were not exactly clean.
Yeah. Not fair, man. It's scary as hell.
it's horrifying.
Like
Um,
some of my least favorite things in horror are like low angle shots. Like there's this one scene in Evil Dead, I think it's Evil Dead 1, where this Deadeye grabs a pencil and just stabs it into somebody's ankle and like is coming from the ground. That shit is always awful. Feels bad.
absolutely. But yeah, no, horrifying segment. Uh, anyway, another thing I wanted to talk about, less on the gameplay side. You find a video cassette tape in one of the hospital, or a video cassette tape and a small like television with a VHS player in one of the hospital rooms. I think it was
Mm.
one for Lena Seo. I think
Hmm.
this was her room. Anyway, you insert the tape onto the TV, and you're immediately transferred to another first-person section. But this time, you're on a train, and you see the white-haired girl sitting at the other side of it. Um, as you walk through the train car as it's passing through the city landscape, the lights flicker and she disappears.
Hmm.
Uh, and then from there, I think you're given. I forget what you're given. I think you're given a key card.
I'm pretty sure
Um,
you are, or it might be one of the plates, but I don't think you get a plate yet.
no, oh,
Mm.
the plate. That's right. I forgot about the plates. The first plate comes with the butterfly box and the radio. That's where you
Yeah.
get the first plate. At this
Mm.
point,
Mm.
that's the only plate you have. So yeah, you get a key card.
Do you
You
remember what it's
navigate.
called? Is it the plate of the
Uh,
flesh or
oh no,
Eternity.
it's
Eternity.
plate of
eternity?
Oh, it
eternity.
is
Eternity. The
eternity.
first one was
Yeah.
Eternity, yeah. You
Yeah,
hold on to
that's
that for
better.
like the entire game.
Yeah. Commentary?
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe.
It's
Ugh.
crazy.
maybe? Huh? Eternal?
You
Definitely not. No chance.
No shot. I actually think the devs, we've been gassing them up. I think they just threw some stuff together in Blender one day. They were like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. There we go. Take it. No
Yep.
intentionality whatsoever.
no, no,
One
of course not.
one thing I wrote, because this section serves heavily to expand upon people getting infected because this is the med bay, the front lines of people coming in sick and then like leaving and like Gestalts would die from whatever like they found in the mines that's
Yeah.
spreading this disease, and replicants would become like corroded and have like a kind of hive mind like mentality, um, which I think fits with the bioresonance. But more on that
Mm.
later. Uh, let's see here. One thing I did write in my notes. You know how whenever you like down enemies at the very least or like kill them, like there's kind
Yeah.
of like a glitchy effect whenever like it's over an
Mm.
enemy.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you guys think that's the game trying to simply unsettle you, or do you think it's because you're playing as Elster and she's a replicant and sees things in a digital space, and like very clearly we've seen perspectives of her needing like having a reboot page. Do you think she's like not able to comprehend like what she's looking at and she's like glitching out on that perspective?
So to talk on that, actually, I think it's a little bit of that, but I also think so. They'll get to certain points, and like the game opens with this. There are scenes in this game that are intentionally may seem violent or cruel, and then there are a couple scenes that I love where it's in the cutscene. It is this scene intentionally left blank. Uh,
Yeah.
you could argue that that is either the game self-censoring to make you feel more off, or Elster, like you said, glitching. But not just glitching. I think she might be programmed by the Yusan Nation to an extent
Oh,
to
censored.
censor that self out, to censor it out to an
Mm.
extent. It reads a lot like state propaganda to an extent, where things are censored out, or like you can look at it in U.S. news stuff like that we use for our propaganda, right? Where we'll have combat footage overseas, right? But we'll censor all of the violence out. Uh, to make it seem less bad. It's why we didn't allow active reporting in Vietnam after a while, because people did not want to go over when, they saw
Yeah.
people's heads getting blown off.
Oh, I really like
That's
that.
crazy. I actually had a theory while I was like playing. I
Yeah.
was thinking that possibly they weren't actually corrupted, and like they
Ooh.
like the what was the name of the nation?
Yusan.
Yusan.
Yusan. They like implanted in your head to like change them so that you would like actually kill them
Dude, that's
instead of
actually.
them actually. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like debunked after looking
Mm.
at like the endings and stuff.
Yeah, but like you could argue that people aren't corrupted, but Elster herself is corrupted. That wouldn't make much sense though, because of the cycles of guilt and all that, and the fact that Ariana
Yeah.
young. But
It's
point
a neat
being,
train of
it's a
thought.
cool train of thought, and the fact that you were thinking
Mm.
that early in the game is really, really really smart. I think that reality is not what it seems, and like things
Yeah.
are being implanted.
Absolutely. But yeah, for the most part, this is the hospital section. After grabbing a insane number of keys to open this one door, you go into this room and you're met with a hole to jump down, but it's kind of like a railing that's a bit dilapidated. But you
Hmm.
jump down, and this is where you're greeted by the first boss of the game, the corrupted minor
Oh my
unit.
god, yeah.
I hated this.
I
It was
hated this.
Wait, guys, I thought this was easy. I had so much ammo, and you just have to walk around and shoot them like one time when
Bruh.
their thing
They
opens
did
up.
stock you up. They did stock you
Yeah.
up. That is true.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was guys. Wait.
I had full ammo on like both of my guns, and it was
Same.
still not enough.
Damn.
And it was still
Exactly. I
not
think me
enough.
and Felix had the exact same experience, dude. It
I
was the
I
worst fight.
I also learned very like late that like the longer you like aim at a single person, the more damage you do. Like I learned that in yeah, way too late.
Yeah,
It
you
was
you get a higher chance for a critical hit, right? Like for a headshot.
yeah,
Yeah,
Or,
hit
yeah,
their headshot,
exactly.
hit their headshot.
I did not know that until like almost the end.
oh no, you're popping shots. That's rough.
Yeah.
I really like the intro to this boss fight though, just because like the
Mm.
miner has
Oh,
like such
definitely.
like a calm face that like gets greeted to you, and then all of a sudden like blood or something starts pouring out of it, like its head capsule, and then like the metal plate locks down and it's cold and it's on, and it was just such a fun boss fight. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not the funnest, but like
Beautiful
it
theme, by the
was.
way. One of the best themes in the game is
Yeah.
Mina's theme, which you can't actually hear in the fight because it ends so quickly. But on YouTube, it is so pretty.
I gotta listen to it. I do. I dig this area though.
Definitely.
And I personally shot the thing to death. Just navigating around. But Daniel, you texted me that you could actually use flares to burn it when it's
Yeah.
puking.
Yeah.
Not when you have to make sure it's not puking. Like right as soon as it gets up, you can use the thermite.
Oh.
I almost used no like I redid it just so I could keep my ammo for the next section.
I did not redo it, so the next section for me was literal hell. But
Yeah, like I redid it and then like only used like the thermite and took all the ammo from the thing, and then I was like stacked for the next section.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, just to quickly, not too quickly, but I gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
For this episode.
You got your
To,
defense contract
to,
with Raytheon, right? You
that
gotta
I
go
do.
make
Yeah, they want me
your
right now.
business.
But to end it off, real quickly, you complete the boss fight, and you finally meet Adler, the guy you've been hearing so much about, and you ask him, "Have you seen this person?" He's cold and calculative, and like the camera that pans in on his face with like this white background, and like
Yeah.
it's just square on his like face, and it's like a side profile, is just so like intriguing to me. Just because like it just feels like clean and calculative and sharp, like his mind is made up.
Not just that.
From the
Oh yeah, keep going. Then I'll talk about it.
I was just gonna say the next story beat.
Oh, okay, but like he has this air of looking down on you as well. Like Adler,
Yeah.
you said earlier that Adler has like almost takes on a kind of a motherly role to an extent, but I've always seen him as this like punishing father to an extent, like this
No,
very
sorry,
disapproving.
not him being the motherly role. More like he
Fault.
loves Fox's motherly role and feels affected by it.
Yeah, definitely. But like when you look at him, and like it gets subverted later on, where he's revealed to be like this pathetic, has nothing.
Whoa. Oh no, wait, Felix did see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pathetic
Yeah,
has
I did
nothing,
see that.
can't do shit, you know. Not fully, because Felix, you need to get to the end where you see like how pathetic he really is, but like
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
it's cool. He's set up as this like avenging patriarch, and then he's fully subverted throughout the entire story.
I don't
And
think
that leads
he's.
into
I
Not
never saw him as a
invention, I should say.
patriarch, I suppose.
I did. I don't know. Maybe it's just the vibe that
Maybe.
I got. But like,
More to discuss next time for sure.
Yeah.
As
Oh
we
yeah, sorry, you've
expand
got
on
to wrap it up.
feminism.
My bad.
Yeah,
my
I'm
bad.
sorry. My dad's like texting me and being pushy. But with that, Adler turns around and shoves you down the elevator, and that is where we will leave off.
all right.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for episode 1. Thank you so much for listening, dear listeners. I'm your host Jack, and with me, your co-host Joel, and our guest stars Daniel and Felix. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
And
Guys,
may
you
you
want to
stay
shout
on.
anything out real quick?
Shout out the Dan Shan Dude YouTube channel, of course.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
I'm gonna kick your ass in Tekken.
You don't. You don't want to shout out your Twitter account? You know, award-winning Twitter account.
No, not especially actually. Not especially.
Not especially, actually. Yeah. Shout out to Replay Soccer, greatest YouTube channel of all time. Yep.
It is.
Anyway.
It is.
I see how it is. What are you? Okay.
All right. Well, I gotta go, guys. Hey, thank you so
See
much, dear
ya.
listener, and hope you don't stay up all night. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
All night
Alright.
too. Goodbye.